Karen, are you good? Yeah. I just want to make sure you're good. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regular council meeting for Tuesday, October the 18th. It's currently 7 o'clock. Before we get started, the Village of Anmore would like to open our meetings by recognizing the many Indigenous peoples of our area, including the following First Nations with communities that are located in the region that we now know as Metro Vancouver: Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Coquitlam. Further, we would like to honor the important place in history occupied by the many territorial keepers of these lands and waters around us since time immemorial. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Approval of the agenda. The recommendation would read
that the agenda be approved as circulated.
Could I get someone to move that? Moved, seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. I should mention as well that Councillor Trowbridge and Councillor Laidler are away. Public input. Public is permitted to provide comments to council on any item shown on the meeting agenda. A 2-minute time limit applies to speakers. Would anybody like to come up for public input? Okay, we'll move on to the minutes of the regular council meeting held on September 20th, 2022. The recommendation would read
that the minutes of the regular council meeting held September 20th, 2022 be adopted as circulated.
Could I get someone to move those minutes?
So moved.
Seconded. Any discussion? See none. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. We now move forward to unfinished business. 10A, Village of Belcarra, request for comments on the draft Village of Belcarra official community plan. And so anyway, Mr. Boyd's going to talk to this, but before we get to this, I just wanted to make a comment on this. I reviewed this fairly in-depthly this afternoon and read through it. Again, this is Belcarra's official community plan, and I think that would be wise to defer this as Belcarra has just gone through a municipal election as we did, and they have 2 members of their council that will probably want to be providing some comments on this OCP review before they adopt it. So I think the best thing to do is to defer it at this point and just wait until they have a review before it comes back to us. Is that, Mr. Boyd, is that sort of the proper protocol that they'll be reviewing it now with the 2 new members of council?
I would assume so.
Yeah.
It hasn't gone through final readings that they'd want to open it up and review it themselves and have comment.
So if that's all right, I'll just move to defer at this point in time until we get an updated, there could be some changes in that, so.
So moved.
Moved, seconded? Okay. Any comments?
Yeah. If I may,
yeah.
We did have some questions that were noted in the minutes. Could we just add those questions to if we review it again after their council? Because I had a question about the sand and gravel deposits. There was a clarification regarding the geographical boundaries and adjacent borders and the housing clustering. It was discussed at last meeting. Yeah. So I don't know if that was ever sent to them. Do we ever get any answers?
It'd be wise, send it off and say that we are going to wait for their final review now with the new members of council.
Sure.
Okay? So with those comments being added, I'll call the question. All those in favor of deferral? Opposed? Carried unanimously. Okay, BC Active Transportation Grant, report dated October 6, 2022 from Mr. Boyd, Manager of Development Services, is attached. Mr. Boyd.
Thank you, Your Worship. So we have an opportunity to apply for a grant opportunity to help enhance our cycle and walking network. As you can see, we've completed part of that network right now with the East Road and Sunnyside connections, and we'd like to continue to improve those facilities, and we're looking to utilize the BC Activation Grant to help lighten the load on ourselves. So this is a 70-30 split with the municipal funds, so 70% from the province and 30% of the funds coming from Anmore coffers if we're successful. So I said we're into stage 2 of our development of the pathway. There is a couple of phases to go along that section, but if we can gain this grant, it'll obviously move us forward in a quicker, expedited manner. We also apply for grant funding through the MRN B, WIC and BIT sections of TransLink, so there's other funding opportunities that we utilize to fund our pathways as well. So this is just another avenue to be able to do that.
Good. I just wanted to make a couple comments regarding this. over the past month, I've heard from a lot of people who said that it's absolutely amazing. They're able to take their kids, they feel safe along the road. They're able to take their kids who are learning to bike ride, strollers. It has really been a significant upgrade for getting people out and walking the distance. And I'm really excited to see this move the other direction as well and get further down Sunnyside. One of the concerns that I have, though, is that with this, especially the area from Elementary to Alder, is that your street on? We're going to probably have to, the sidewalk needs to be pulled away from the road, which is going to entail putting a pipe down there. Is that something that would be facilitated in this?
Yes, for sure. I mean, the
Okay.
grant opportunity is anything to do with infrastructure associated
Okay.
with the facility, so that would include installing pipe to provide that area within the right of way.
Yeah, quite a few people said because it's such a key thing, the sidewalk is literally right on the road, and they would like it if we could match it up and pull it away. From Elementary up to East Road, it is on the other side of the ditch, but it would make a huge difference for the safety as well as, further down. So very much in support of this, and I am a little concerned looking at the TransLink funding as we move forward and the challenges that they're having. I think we need to capitalize this on as soon as possible, because I don't know how long this will be around for. So let's get a motion on the table. So the recommended option would be that council directs staff to apply to the BC Active Transportation Infrastructure Grant Program for the amount of $500,000, ensure the application meets all eligibility requirements, and that the village commits the required 30% contribution up to $150,000 to be funded from capital reserves and to provide overall grant management should the application be successful. Could I get someone to move that? Moved, seconded, any discussion? Councilor Weber.
Yeah, a few things. I guess a little bit of background on that section that was already done, and unfortunately, it wasn't done the way we wanted it, just because we were paying for it. It's because that trail was encroaching on private property, and I think there's some other parts that are too, actually. But it would be nice if that could be fixed, although I hate to carve up a perfectly good piece of infrastructure if we don't need to. I have seen bikes on it. It is for bikes, correct? The intent is for bikes, walking, multi-use, roller skates, whatever.
Yes, so that's kind of like the multi-phase section of this. So the phase that's being completed right now, the cross-section, so the width of the path needs to actually be extended to really facilitate the bicycles. It's what we call a multi-user pathway, which should be a minimum of 2.6 meters, or 3 ideally. It isn't quite that right now, and that was to do with funding requirements, but it was kind of getting the best bang for our buck to get sidewalk from start to finish in those areas. We have to come back and do another piece of asphalt section to get that. First phase and this phase would have to be done to the ultimate cross-section straight away to utilize this funding.
Okay. Yeah, because what we've done with those roads is we've made it a lot harder for bike riders, because we put the curves much closer into the road, and it's really not safe. Obviously, the ditch will be filled all the way from East Road to Elementary. Are we going to incorporate parking? Because we've talked about we need more parking for Spirit Park for all these events, and to me, it just makes sense. Like what we've done on Sunnyside, we've just grassed it. You're going to have the similar dimensions, but maybe on this part we should consider a parking lane, and then people can just walk up the path, cross the road, and they're in Spirit Park. Is that a consideration?
It can be.
Well,
Yeah, if that's so the direction of council, yeah, we can certainly look at that.
I think we should look at that.
The ditch portion, there's only a small portion of ditching that would be needed on the north of Elementary. Not the whole way, it only goes to where the curve
Yeah.
in the road is. But it doesn't necessarily need to be filled in because the pathway is sufficient on the other side.
Yeah, it's just as long as we're thinking about parking, because, we've missed the opportunity on this part, but I think, where we're close to the park, we need to consider that. It's just, it should all be done at once. We should make a decision on it, and it should all be done at the same time, I think. And I know we had talked about doing the other side of the road, but let's face it, this is all gonna cost money. We may not have enough money after the village hall is built and we put the roundabout in. It may be something we wanna wait on. Great future plan to have parking on both sides, but this might be an easy way to get some inexpensive parking immediately with this project.
I believe when the engineering was done in regards to the extension of Ravenswood out to Sunnyside, we actually needed to provide parking on that, which would be the west side, for sightlines. And so that it has to be a part of that project
When we
anyway.
do Ravenswood.
When we do Ravenswood.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But
And
we may
we'll-
not do that for a while, right?
Well, and we're also doubling up the parking lot where Ravenswood now comes in off of Sunnyside,
Right.
so that will double the parking there as well. So I
Right.
think it's some things that we should look at, when we do our strategic plan with the new council.
Yeah, and then a couple other things. I thought the split was 25-75 with TransLink. Is it 30-70?
Yes, that's a TransLink application. That
Oh.
is for the small communities for TransLink. This is a provincial BC. Yep.
Okay, fair enough, sorry. And that's it.
Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. Any idea when we'll find out about that, or?
I wish I could give you an answer to that.
Okay, no
the
problem.
answers, I would, they typically take 4 to 6 months to make a decision.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Perfect, okay. Move on to the mayor's report. I've got a couple things. I had a conversation this afternoon with our fire chief, Chief Sharp. He again stressed to me the fact that we are in an extreme fire ban right now, fire rating. So unfortunately, we are not going to be able, we're going to have to cancel the fireworks this year. What I was hoping is that those monies that were allocated for the purchase of fireworks, we could maybe reallocate towards the Christmas event this year, because again, we keep hearing great things about Light Up Spirit Park and just keep adding to it on a yearly basis. I have talked to Scott at Public Works, and he said that a lot of the lights now that we're buying are lasting very long, and they're putting them away properly, drying them, so adding some lights would certainly add to the event. So with that, I just want to let everybody know that unfortunately fireworks are going to have to be canceled this year. So, and the other thing I wanted to comment on is the speed bumps have been installed in the Birchwine subdivision. There was 3 speed bumps. I'm hoping we can possibly get another one, and they've been painted. And outstanding response from the citizens there. They're very, very pleased with them, that they're there and they're doing what they were meant to do, and people are very, very appreciative. So those are the only 2 comments I have. I'll open up to Councillor Webering.
Yeah, I heard a UPS truck go over one of those the other day a little too fast. Made a lot of noise. I just want to express sadness in what happened to Constable Shaylin Yang today. I don't know if you heard that there was she was stabbed, and unfortunately a homeless individual was shot by police. It was quite a tragic incident. So my condolences to her family. You know, when you're in civic government, these kind of things really hit you, as they hit all of us. It's not what you sign up for as a police officer anymore. Just a terrible, terrible tragedy. I'd like to congratulate John McEwen, Mayor John McEwen, for 3rd term as mayor. I think it's a good indication that this council is moving in the right direction. I think it validates what we're doing. It shows a clear majority. And, you know, we always want to please as many people as possible, but of course you can't please everybody. But I think it's a validation of not just the mayor, but our council and the direction we've been going. We've tried to go in the right direction, and I think we've accomplished that. So once again, congratulations. And that's about all I have.
Good. Nothing? Okay, we'll move on to the Chief Administrator Officer's report.
Great. Thank you, Mayor McEwen. So maybe just following on the comments around the election, I just wanted to share our overall voter turnout in Anmore. When you take into consideration the registrations that happened either on the advanced polling day or on the general election day, we had a 49% turnout, which is great comparable to some of our neighboring municipalities who had mostly lower than 30, with the exception of Port Moody that was a little bit higher than that, but really great, and not unusual for Anmore either in terms of a higher voter turnout. So I just wanted to share that information. I had a coordination call today with a number of local agencies. We usually do a debrief after the summer season with Metro Vancouver, City of Port Moody, Village of Belcarra, the RCMP was in attendance, as was Port Moody Police. Chief Sharp attended on behalf of the Sasamat Volunteer Fire Department. We had BC Hydro there, and essentially the purpose is to sort of talk about any of the successes or ongoing issues we saw over the summer season for traffic and parking for people visiting Belcarra Regional Park, Sasamat Lake, and Bunsen Lake. And overwhelmingly, the majority of the conversation around the issues that happened were for Belcarra and Sasamat. And the comment was essentially the reservation system was a huge success for Bunsen, and Chief Sharp was really happy in relation to the ability for emergency response to get around. And BC Hydro at that meeting did confirm that they are looking to re-implement that for 2023 as well. They're not quite sure what it looks like, but that information was shared, so that's great. And I'm sure that Metro Vancouver and potentially some of the other agencies may be looking at something similar for next year as well to try to alleviate some of the problems that they saw for 2022. So that happened today. Mayor McEwen commented already on the Halloween fireworks. And I just wanted to comment as well, so we certainly can look to reallocate those funds for lights. I do just want to highlight for Light Up Spirit Park before we get too far down in the planning process that of course we are under construction at that site. We've lost the majority of the parking lot, which is where a lot of staging happened, so it may also unfortunately need to be a bit of a lighter version, but certainly we'll start looking at that in planning in the coming weeks and months. And finally, second to last, I wanted to thank Ms. Elric a great deal for being our Chief Election Officer for this election. She did an incredible job seeing us through and making sure that all the processes were followed as they should have been. She had help from Sabina Perrin, who has done work for us in a number of different capacities over the years, as well as a few other election officials, but it went extraordinarily well, and I just wanted to say a big thank you to Ms. Elric. And finally, I have a bit of announcement of my own to make. I will be leaving the village next month, so I have taken on a new role in another community, and my last day will be on the 13th of November, which is technically a Sunday, but I'll be starting my new role on November 14th. So the CAO posting will actually be going out very soon, and I'll do what I can to help the incoming council work through a recruitment for that while I'm here. That's it.
Thank you, and I just want to say thank you to 7 years. It's been 7 years, has it not? And I tell you, Julie, you've been amazing. You've done amazing work and setting protocols, procedures, getting the office. So I just want to say thank you. I knew this day would come. I wish it didn't, but I'm also very, very happy for you in your new role. And I just want to thank you from all of council to the amazing work that you've done and the great things that we've done in this community. So very much appreciate and wishing you all the best of luck. Okay. We have some information items, committee, some minutes from the Sasamat Volunteer Fire Department, some general correspondence. I'll open up now for public question period. Public is permitted to ask questions of the council regarding any item pertaining to village business. 2-minute time limit applies to speakers.
Deb Buke, 1100 Thompson Road. Just a quick question about the fireworks. I know you said they're canceled for Spirit Park. Will the village be putting a full ban on?
That is what Chief Sharp is going to be looking at, yeah.
Perfect.
We won't be able to, we don't have enough time to set the event up
Right.
with this. There is supposed to be rain this weekend, but he did stress to me, he said,
It won't
it's
be enough.
it won't be enough to change the fire rating, and when the fire rating is extreme, there will be, and I have reached out to a few of the neighborhood groups that do a firework display,
Right.
and they're totally understanding as well.
Good,
So,
okay,
yeah.
perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Motion to adjourn? Moved. seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. That was it.